Welcome back to the channel. We're going to do something different today. We're going to do a quick video on ribs. So instead of going to a restaurant, I'm making them. I'm smoking them. I'm prepping them. And we're going to start a new series here. We'll still go out and we'll do restaurant reviews and see what's happening out in the world. But there's a lot of good cooking going on in this house. Hey, I went to culinary school. I got some recipes. So I'm going to share some with you. And we're going to start with Babybacks. Let's roll. Pellets. Okay, thought I'd do a little bit of a voiceover here. It's going to be a little bit easier to hear, so I'm going to just do some trimming up of the baby backs here. So you can see I like to trim off the loose ends. I think that the rack will smoke better. It's certainly going to look better if it's trimmed up. So right now I'm just looking to get between the bones there. So a nice square rack, and we're not going to throw away those pieces. Not the ones, not all the pieces anyway. So now it's membrane time. Some people will take off the membrane. Some people won't take off the membrane. It's a preference thing. I do it most of the time. I'm not a big fan of keeping it on and having that little bit of toughness when you're eating the rib. So this one's not too bad. It's going to come off pretty easy. Find a good spot. A lot of people use a butter knife for this, but the sharp knife was working just fine. So if you haven't done it, it's easy. Stick a knife under, grab a paper towel so you can get a good grip on the membrane. The whole thing should pull off just like that. Really shouldn't be too big a deal. I'm going to look at that chunk of fat on the side. Just I want to see if that's hard fat, if I think it's going to render down. I didn't think I need to cut that off. It would have changed the whole shape of the rack. If it would have been a big gouge out of it, the smoke would have possibly, passed over the rack a little differently. So I left it. I don't think it's going to be a problem. So going with the savory rub, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, as opposed to just a real sweet rub. This is Meat Church's Holy Cow, and I'll talk about that. Sometimes I just want a nice savory rib. So I'm going to rub both sides. And, I won't do quite so much on the bottom side, the non-meat side, but I'm going to get the sides of the rack. I want to get all over, get it pretty good. And those little nuggets there, I'm keeping those guys. So we're going to season those up, make sure they're nice and covered. And we're going to throw those on the smoker too. And we'll get into that in a little bit too. All right, let's get that smoker started. Okay, I've got the smoke rolling, and we're outside, obviously, in the backyard now. Those little guys are going up top. The ribs, the firebox is closest to where that pellet storage is and where the controls are. So I'm going to put the thick end of the ribs over there. Try not to mess with them too much. Lay them down and leave them alone. Okay, taking a break from little household chores while the ribs are 10 feet away on the smoker. Okay, so let's talk about my process for ribs. Now, there are a lot of ways to do ribs. The 3-2-1, all right? I've done that. They come out great. There's the leave them on the smoker for a few hours and wrap them the rest of the way. I've done that too. Sauce them and keep them wrapped. I've done that too. My favorite, and by far for me the easiest, is I just let them go. I don't wrap them. I'm not in a rush. I know they may not be getting any more smoke. Some folks might differ on that, but for me, on the pellet smoker, they're not getting a overly smoky flavor by not wrapping. Usually takes about 4.5 to 5 hours for them to be done, where it's probe tender. I want that probe sticking in there like butter. I don't spritz. I've tried spritzing. I've done it. I don't usually get a bark that's drying out. I'll check them after a couple hours. They've been on there for only a half an hour now, so they got a long ways to go. So I'll check them in a couple hours after everything's good and set. If I think that they need a spritz, if it's looking really dry, I might give them a little spritz of apple cider vinegar. I've done it before. Some people swear by it. It's great, and it tastes good if you spritz it. I find that it tastes just as good to me if I don't spritz it. So to each their own. This is how I do it. The rub that I'm using, this is a more savory rub. A lot of folks will go for a very sweet rub. Everybody loves sweet ribs and sticky ribs. I do too, trust me. But if you're trying to cut back on your sugar intake and you don't want a super sweet rib, I love to use Meat Church's Holy Cow. I know a lot of people use that for steak. I use it for steak all the time. It's great for steak, for basically any cut of beef. But I put them on the ribs, and they've got that savory, peppery, delicious flavor. It's just great. I think that I might experiment with some sauces. I got some sauces that are a little lower in sugar. I've tried them before. Some of them aren't too good. I bought some Primal Kitchen sauces. These are new to me, so I might do a little a section that's a little sauced with I bought 2 different flavors, and that'll give me a chance to keep half a rack dry, and then split the other half a rack between the 2 sauces, and see how they taste, and decide if I like them. A lot of times I just the sugar-free sauces don't do it for me. Sometimes they're okay, but a lot of times I'll rationalize it. If I'm going to have ribs and I'm going to sauce it, I'm going to sauce it with something that's got all the goodies, brown sugar, molasses, maple syrup, honey, all the good stuff. So anyway, that's the process I'm going to use. Okay, it's been about 2 hours. Let's see what we got. It's exciting. I love this part. Looking good. It's a nice color. These little pieces, you saw me put those on there. These are, they're getting done. These are just, the pieces very hot. I trimmed off to square up the rack, which, I like to square up because they cook more even, they look good. That's the thicker end, so I put that towards where the heat's going to be, or not going to be, where the heat is. And then obviously we've got the thin end here, but you can see there's some juices, some fats rendering. We've got a nice looking bark. It's tough. I'm not going to spray it. I don't think it's getting dried out. We're just going to leave it. We're just going to let it roll. These guys are going to be done. Little jerky niblets for me to mess around with. I'm going to let them get all nice and tender. These little guys. Let them get super smoky and tender. All right. We've got time. It's only been 2 hours, so we're probably about halfway, maybe not even. So, all right. Let's put them back to bed. It's been another 2 hours. Let's see where we're at. Okay, they're looking good. They are getting tender. Temperature there is, you can see it there, about 189, 190. I just flipped them around. This side it's about 190. They're pretty close. You can see the bones. Meat is starting to pull back. Bones are sticking out. They're looking good. So, my little nuggets here, these guys, I'm taking them off because they're going to be pretty fun to eat. Just the little tips that I cut off. So they're good. So I'm going to give these guys another, I don't know. I'll come back out and check them in about a half an hour. Once these little nuggets cool off. Actually, let me see if I can taste it. All right, so, oh, good. When you cut off the little tips, don't just throw them away. Throw them on your smoker. Little chef's treat. Peppery,
super smoky. These little guys, very peppery. Meat is tender. The ribs are going to be juicy. If this meat is tender, these ribs should be good. So we'll see. It is. They've been on exactly 4 hours. I'll come back out in another 30 minutes. See what we got. Stay tuned. All right, we're at another half an hour, so it's been on for 4.5 hours. Let's see what we got. These look great. Super tender. Yeah. Bones, meat is pulled back from the bones a little bit more. You can see the bones exposed. Let's see our check our temperature. We're at 195. Here we've gone up about, here we're only at 186. They're probably going to need another half an hour. I really want to get them over that 200 mark. I'm not going to sauce them yet, but there we go, 203 next to the or the firebox. I'm not surprised, but I want to get these other guys up there a little bit more. 182, yeah. So it looks like we're going to need the full 5 hours on this guy. Alright, they look good. Everything is pulled back a little bit more. Oh yeah, those are done. This guy is sliding right in. He's at 197, 196 temperature-wise. Close enough. We're getting out of here. 196, 197. All right. We're going to have some carryovers. This is the Primal Kitchen Golden Barbecue. Organic, unsweetened. I don't know. Whoa, that got away from me quickly. That guy on there, it's a bit much, but hopefully it'll tack up. Next up, we have, if I can turn it around, the Primal Kitchen barbecue sauce, classic, unsweetened. Come on. This guy's much thicker than the first one. The first one came flying out of there. Alright. That looks good. We're gonna, I told you, we'll sauce half. We're gonna let them tack up a little bit. And we've got half dry, so let me close this back up. Okay, we're getting the ribs tacky. Just put the sauce on. So we're going to tack up and give that just a couple minutes. I'm going to get these barbecue sauce bottles all closed up, get these ribs tacky, and then I'm going to take them upstairs, and then we're going to cut them and we're going to eat them. And I'll show you what it's like. Okay, be right back. This is the golden sauce. It's not bad. I don't know how to describe it. What a smoke ring. Pretty good. Tender, juicy. Nice bite. This is the classic. It's okay. These are nondescript, sugar-free sauces. Here is the dry. Juicy. Look at that smoke ring. That's the way to go as far as I'm concerned. Dry, peppery, garlic, salt. It's great. Seriously juicy. Tender, not falling apart. You can see these are holding a bite, not just falling off the bone, but super tender. I'm gonna eat a lot of these. Try these, do these. Put your rub on it, put it on your smoker, pellet grill, Weber, kettle, whatever. Leave it alone for 4.5, 5 hours. When they're about 200, 203, 204, take them off, cut them up, eat them. Simple, do these. See ya.